I filmed those steps because that is the way that I come home every day. We counted once, but I can't remember what the count was. And the worst thing about them is that you get, I'm just taking my shoes off in case you're wondering. You get to the top of the stairs and then you think you're done, but no, the incline at the top on the hill is massive. So actually the worst bit is getting to the top of the stairs and then being like, oh, thank goodness that's over. And then suddenly discovering that no, actually you have like the world's steepest 10 metre stretch of road. I walk home pretty much every day, and I have this toss-up every time, because I walk to work as well. But if I get the bus, there are 2 stops between here and work, which is nothing, really. You don't even have to pay for a full ticket because you're on the bus for such a short amount of time. So it feels like a waste to pay money for that. But first of all, if it's raining, Bristol is a really windy city, and if it's raining and you try to use an umbrella, they quite often get destroyed, or if you've got the really big strong ones that won't turn inside out, you get blown all over the place. So umbrellas are not really an option, and I don't often want to turn up to work covered in water, which is, you know, it's an issue in the UK. But also there's the whole, I could do crafting if I got the bus, and most of the time when I take the bus, which is not often, I fool myself into thinking I'm doing it so I can get some extra crafting time in, but actually what ends up happening is because I always travel in rush hour, because obviously everybody's going to and leaving work, there's never anywhere to sit, and then even when there is, I'm just so sort of relieved to be on the bus and on a seat, because quite often there's a lot of waiting, that I end up doing nothing anyway, and I get to work and I'm like, oh, well, that was brilliant, like, now I'm not going to get my steps goal for the day, and I've wasted money, and I could have been doing some exercise. So there we go, that's what I have to go through every time I go to and from work, is the decision on what mode of transport I'm going to use for the day. Hello? Oh, hello, sweetie. Tonks hasn't been feeling particularly well for the last few days because I defleed her, and it always makes her feel a little bit off, so she normally comes down to say hi, but not today. Hey. What you doing? Oh, you're so cute. I love you. Something that I think about quite often, really, is education. Oh God, I sound so... Oh, hang on. Concussed. So something that I really wished I'd had more of when I left home was lessons on how to adult. I've heard other people talking about this quite a lot, and when I meet up with friends from school, quite a lot of them have said the same thing, where, you know, they felt like we did all the stuff at school that you do at school, science, maths, English, and then all the other stuff that you do. You never really learn how to adult. I can remember doing, I can't remember what we called them, I think they were social studies classes, where we went over our CVs once. Of all of the things that I learnt at school, that was one of the least helpful, to be quite honest, because a CV is something that you need to know what it is, but they're so drastically different that I don't believe that you can really be taught them in a social studies lesson. What I would have much preferred was things like understanding what a direct debit is and how to pay a gas bill on time, and what to do if you are, I don't know, struggling to feed yourself, like what meals you should eat and how to set up a bank account, and, you know, all of those things that you just don't learn enough of. And arguably some of those things parents should teach. I was very lucky because my parents were pretty good at showing us, like, we cooked at home. Oh, hello, that was the wrong thing. We cooked at home, and we did things like, we had to have jobs as kids, we always had jobs. We did chores, and we had all of these responsibilities. I had to walk the dogs, and then I had to, like, clean the outside passage with the hose every Saturday, and there were all of these things that did, you know, pave the way. But honestly, clueless. I was absolutely clueless. My first year in halls, I feel like I mastered the basics of cooking. That's where I learnt to make, like, a bolognese sauce, which I'm pretty good at, if I do say so myself. I feel like that's one of my, like, if I know I need to cook, that's something that I will always reach for. But everything else, when we moved into a house in our second year and had to do things like get internet and all that stuff, I feel like I'm nearing 30 and I'm only just cracking all of those things, which, I don't know, I feel like it would have been good to just have a bit more information. Now, I realise, having walked away and cleaned the cauliflower, that is probably something that would be quite hard, because I can definitely think of students, myself included, at school who would have definitely not been interested in learning those sorts of life lessons. Maybe you should do like young adult classes at uni where you learn that stuff. That sounds ridiculous, doesn't it? Oh, I'm just talking rubbish, really, aren't I? Life lessons, eh? I asked my mum once, when I was in my early 20s, look at me sounding like an old sage, I realise I'm still pretty young. I asked her, when did you start feeling like you were an adult? Bearing in mind that she had me when she was 25, so by my age she already had a 5-year-old and a 3-year-old. And she was basically like, I don't think you ever do. Like, you reach a certain age, and that's pretty much the age where you mentally stay. I mean, obviously you then do take on responsibilities, but from a certain point, she didn't feel that she had reached a point where she was like, yes, now I'm an adult. And to be honest, I feel like things like when John and I go on holiday and we hire a car and you put like €1,000 or pound or whatever dollar hold on your credit card, or what else, like when we moved here and we bought a washing machine, and having a cat who we have to take to do all of her medical stuff, that stuff makes me feel like I'm an adult. But the rest of the time, I'm just like, is everybody else faking it as much as I am? I think the answer is yes. Anyway, with that thought for the day over, I tend to be too lazy to follow recipes, and I'm also very lazy when it comes to trying new things. So I will, for example, make bolognese all the time. That is my go-to thing. Like, if we don't have a frozen bolognese in the fridge, for example, there's something wrong. And also, basically, whenever I do an order for food, because I do all of my shopping online, because I feel like I'd rather pay the extra and have it delivered and therefore have more time at home, I always order chicken breasts, mince, and then either meatballs or sausages. No sausages at the moment, because the last time I went to Mum's house, the local farmer, plumber, smallholder, pig man brought around kilos of sausages, so I've got thousands of those. That is basically my meat diet. And then cauliflower, broccoli, peas, sweet corn, and sometimes courgette, sometimes carrots, sometimes cucumber. That is my diet, with rice or potatoes. And I feel like I have a smoothie every morning, which is healthy, I hope. It's got a lot of sugar in it, because it's got a lot of fruit in it. But I also put loads of spinach in. You will have seen the other day what I put into that. So I feel like that's relatively healthy, and I'm getting quite a lot of the nutrients that I need in that. But then the rest of the time, I probably need to vary my diet a bit. And it's something that I always want to do, but then when it actually comes to trying a new recipe and like following a recipe and making sure you have all the stuff, oh god, I fall down at it. I bought paella rice a few months ago because I was like, yeah, I really want to make paella. I love paella. Haven't done it. I think we even have the prawns in the freezer. Maybe that's what I'll do tomorrow. That's what I'll do. I'm like, yeah, I'll do that tomorrow, and then tomorrow I'll be like, maybe not. Right, what I'm actually having for dinner. So I've got some chicken breasts on the go. And then here I've got in my steamer broccoli, cauliflower and rice underneath. I don't know why I went down like that, you can't see through the pot. And then I'm going to probably fry it all up and pop some fresh parsley, peas, sweet corn and possibly some chopped carrots in with it. And that will be my dinner. I basically just chucked it all in the wok and fried it up for a little bit with a bit of soy sauce. And now I'm going to go and enjoy it. I've recently got really obsessed with hand-knitted face cloths. I know that's really weird, but it feels really good to knit something that's super functional. So I've just done it out of I think it's a Rowan pure cotton, and knitted it diagonally on the bias, I think that's called, using an interrupted moss stitch, and came out with this, and I really like it. I actually much prefer it to, my other one's got sort of like loofery bits on it, so it's really rough on one side, whereas this is just smooth. And I've made it myself, and people are getting these for Christmas. What are you doing? What's wrong? Dreamy? I have done all my chores and eaten my dinner and washed my face and got ready for bed, and I'm now going to sit down and watch some Gossip Girl because I'm a loser and do some more crochet. Here's one of the squares that I've done so far today. I will talk all about that project later. It's definitely my bedtime, it's kind of late. I'm meeting Ross for a 6 o'clock run tomorrow, which means I have to be up at 5 because he lives a mile away. I've got to run there first. I had a bit of a crappy day, to be honest. I know that I've seemed pretty cheerful, but work was quite tough today, so I'm feeling quite beaten, and I'm hoping that tomorrow will be a good day. I probably will never film at work because that's not something that I want to be part of this whole journey. I live in fear that somebody from work will discover my videos, but hopefully that won't happen too soon. Anyway, I'm going to go to bed and hope for a better day tomorrow, and I will see you all soon. Bye.